Give us any chance, we'll take it. Read us any rule, we'll break it. We're gonna make our dreams come true.
Hello, everyone, and welcome again back to Night After Night. And we sadly had no opportunity to get to talking about this before, but we wanted to make sure to give a little bit of a tributary moment to Eddie Mekka, who starred in Laverne and Shirley, the show that we do our podcast about. And Eddie sadly passed away on November 27th of 2021. And we wanted to just kind of talk a little bit about him, about his effect on the show, about his career. We've heard, many good stories about him. We've, enjoyed seeing him in interviews. We've enjoyed his role on the show, and just be able to just give him his moment.
Yeah. He unfortunately passed away at a time where we didn't have the ability to do a proper tribute to him. My recording software completely died on my computer over Christmas vacation, so we couldn't really do anything. We couldn't record anything. And unfortunately, I was able to replace it. Now we can talk about Eddie, who, as Cindy said, was just this mega talented man who could do so many different things. He could really, if you really think about different things that he could do, he wasn't only a dance guy. He couldn't only just sing and perform with incredible skill and speed. He was also good at comedic acting and dramatic acting. He really could nail down all the various elements of the craft and present them with incredible skill.
Absolutely. I know that for those of you who listen to the podcast regularly know that I have a tendency to not like Carmine, to put it gently. That being said, I would never begrudge an actor for a character that I dislike unless I felt they were miscast in it or the person themselves was not a good human being. In the case of Eddie, it seems like he was a wonderful person, that the writers failed his character more than anything else.
Yeah.
And that he did a lot sometimes with the little that he was given. And as you said, was an incredible performer. He did so much. He was a talented actor. There are moments that I find his performance got better because he was allowed to really be a character. And he was, as I've gone into looking at, since his passing, I've looked at more of his kind of character actor parts, and he was a really good character actor, in my opinion, a very underrated one.
Yeah, he kind of got denied by the success of Carmine in a way. He couldn't go out and really develop his skills in the mid 80s and late 80s and early 90s, because he kind of got pigeonholed in that Carmine formation, that little dent, the Carmine-shaped dent that working on Laverne Shirley left behind for him. And he did express some frustration that ABC wouldn't let him go out during the summers to do more theater, to do more singing engagements, and kind of break out of his mold.
Right. And if I recalled, you had said that he pretty much returned to the theater as soon as he could after the show ended, right?
Yes. He appeared on Broadway. He was in Chess, I do believe, unless I'm completely losing my mind.
Yeah, he was in Jumpers, The Magic Show, The Lieutenant, and Hairspray in 2006.
Yes, he was in Hairspray. He did Hairspray in the Luxor at Las Vegas for a long time. And he did very well in that part. He was, I think he was Corny Collins. What's some nuts?
For Hairspray, it says he was Wildbur Turnblad.
Oh, he's with Turnblad! Oh, that's adorable. That would be a good part for him. Because it has warmth, a lot of warmth and love and affection.
Oh, that's nice.
Do you know anything about Hairspray at all? I was curious.
I'm sorry. I know it's a musical that's very John Waters-y and set in suburbia, as all John Waters movies that are worth a damn are.
Well, it is derived directly from a John Waters movie. It's one of my favorite musicals. It's beautiful. It's beautiful and cheeky and has a great sense of humor about itself. It's very good. Wilbur is the husband of Edna Turnblad and the father of Tracy, who's the protagonist. And Wilbur is very encouraging and loving. He adores his wife. He adores his daughter. He's very supportive.
Mm.
And he has a really, really great duet with Edna called You're Timeless to Me, which involves soft shoe and a gentle kiss at the end,
Wow.
which is really nice. Yeah. Um, we've had other Laverne Shirley Michael was Edna for a while on Broadway. So that's very interesting to me, considering how many cast members ended up in Hairspray in the
Hmm.
zeros.
The one thing that definitely makes sense about that, though, is that, as you're saying, it's cheeky, it's kind of self-aware of itself,
Yes.
and, it's almost it's that mix. And as we're saying, very John Waters, it's very sincere while never taking itself seriously.
Yes.
And that really feels like that feels like at Laverne and Shirley. That cast was great in
Yes.
those types of parts, especially
Yes.
the supporting cast like Eddie and like David and Michael and
Yeah.
Betty Garrett and Carolina White
Yeah.
and all those. They
Yes.
were so great at being able to play it straight, but never take it to just go with it.
Yeah. Just go with the flow. Uh, when I think of Eddie, what I think of is how hard Gary Marshall worked to try to make him an important part of the show, an important part of his legacy, even. Because, as we know, Eddie was on Blansky's Beauties. He
Mm.
had a major supporting role there as Joey Luca, who is Carmine's cousin. And they had set up a big romance for him with one of the showgirls, and he's one of the choreographers. Uh, uh, Gary seemed to really, really want to make him happen within the context of being a lead in a hit show.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really interesting. I sometimes wonder what the world would have been like if the Carmine spinoff had actually happened.
It would have been an interesting beast, especially given what I know of his character as it develops through Laverne and Shirley. And what's kind of unfortunate is it would have had to clearly have been a very different show just because of the protagonist it would have focused on. And it could have helped him break out of that mold because it would have refined who Carmine, who the big Ragu is.
Yeah. We haven't gotten to the end of the show yet. Chris will find out eventually, and we'll get to see what happens to Carmine at the end of the show and what they were leading into by the spinoff. But
Mm-hmm.
to avoid spoiling him, while speaking of that moment, you can see Eddie's charisma in that one episode. The trouble is, it's not a good ending for Laverne and Shirley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You shouldn't end Laverne and Shirley with no Shirley and very little Laverne. So, that's the problem. That's the problem with it. I think he kind of gets a lot of strife and anger thrown upon him for the way the show ended sometimes. Sometimes unfairly, because Gary Marshall was basically at that point working with the potatoes he had in the kitchen, and Eddie was his biggest, most talented potato.
So at some point, I'm now finding this out as I'm looking up and doing a little further research. I wanted to focus mostly on the film side of things, but now that the theater side has got me interested, it looks like in 2014, Eddie was Howard Cunningham in Happy Days the musical.
Yes, he was. Oh, we've retweeted articles about that, and that's adorable. That's very adorable. Ultimately, he did a lot of little fun things in off-Broadway community theater stuff. He did a lot of work with Cindy. They appeared in a bunch of different kinds of plays together. They did It Had to Be You. They did a play where he portrays a Jewish man and she portrays a nun. And they have to get along together. And I cannot remember the title of that play at the moment, but it will eventually come to me. Eventually it will come to me.
Right.
And they were together in Grease, which is a fun little nod to with all of its 50s-ness.
Mm-hmm.
But they did a lot of theatrical stuff together, a lot of trooping side by side.
That is really cool. Especially because, they, we talk about how on the pod as well that, one of the kind of bummers about the show is that, they could make these characters so inconsistent in the writing because Cindy and Eddie have amazing chemistry. Like Eddie had a way of sort of bringing out the energy and kind of giving like the certain timing because, it feels like with comedy, with acting, performing, there is you have to feed your
Yeah.
partner, your scene partner.
Yes. Yeah. And the two of them had this very like not very. I'm just spirited. They had a spirited chemistry. The way they could kind of whole cloth create these high school sweethearts who love each other. They want to be together, but they fight because they have different aims. But in the end, the loyalty is always there. And in the end, they had this great friendship in real life that translated well to their stage work.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good stuff. I really
Honestly, yes.
I think those who got a chance to see him, I think from what I have seen, I suspect they were quite lucky to get to see these performances.
Oh yeah,
Um, as
yeah,
in terms of film and television, it's wonderful going through his list and seeing how he gets snuck into a scene here in Beaches or a scene in A
yeah,
League of Their Own.
yeah,
Uh, getting like a couple of parts, like and just and stuff that like even the
yeah,
directors and writers would work on. So like Family
yeah,
Matters,
yeah.
etc. Of course, he's on Dream On because Dream On seemed to like
Yes.
sneak a ton of people into it.
Yep. I think he's in an episode Michael directed too.
I'm gonna
Michael formed
let
him
me
in.
double check because I'm I actually think you might be correct on that. Yes, it is significant
Yay!
author.
Yep. Michael's also in that as his recurring character Gibby.
Very nice.
So that's very nice. They got to act together outside the show. That's what I always think is fun. I love how Eddie could like tweak himself and tweak his persona, while also, like you said, delivering sincerity. He did lots of different daytime soap operas, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
He portrayed a minister in Bold and Beautiful. He was in Sunset Beach, which was now Aaron Spelling daytime drama. He was on Guiding Light for a while. He did a lot of soap work, and to be in a soap opera is have an incredibly disciplined work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
Because you work fast, you gotta get a lot in during the day. You gotta have your lines memorized. You gotta be professional. It's some of the hardest acting in the show business world to be a soap actor.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he could do that for like a year just shows how quick on his feet he could be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just impressive as heck to me. That's really impressive.
Yeah, it's a. I think we sometimes have this tendency to forget about all of its work, and even if sometimes it's a case of the actor may not be the legend that therefore changes every part they're in. Like John Candy's small bit in Home Alone that like expanded because that's John Candy. That's what he did.
Yeah.
But it could also just be. But the point though is that most actors, really like the majority, like 85-90% of acting, is you just got to come in and do the work. And can you do that work well, whether or not it's a well written part, it's a well written scene, it's problematic in these new times or whatever have you. How well are you basically doing the assignment? Are you getting this character across? So as you're saying, doing like a priest. I love like the bit I have seen of him playing the Western director in the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody episode.
Oh yeah, that's cute.
And it's a case of where it's a very fun, typical sitcom version of a movie director. It's like, don't worry about it. Or it's like, oh, it's great. That was perfect. Let us roll cameras before you do that again. Like that, that pause for the punchline, like those types of things. You gotta hit that. And, it seems easy. Like, oh, I've done this for a year. No, it's, I like to say often about art that it's never easy. It just it can be simpler, but it's never easy. Cause sometimes the simplest thing is the hardest thing.
Yeah. You could tell he was using his own personal lived experience with other directors.
Mm-hmm.
In that role in the best of ways. He knew how to just deliver a line. Yeah. We praise each of the cast members in this show for their different deliveries, for their abilities.
Mm-hmm.
And in Eddie's case, he could be broad, but he also knew how to dial it in and let you see the little glimmer in Carmine's eye. because
Mm-hmm.
Carmine's got enough brains in him where he knows got a what he's got on the hook, so to speak. He knows how to come in, deliver a good line, and get out. And he does such a good job of looking at this, taking this character and letting you see both the wounded artist, which we get to see in the dance studio, and this naughty boy around the block who enjoys tweaking Shirley's modesty. And he's just very good at that. He's just really very good at combining all of the sides of Carmine
Mm-hmm.
into a single character.
Yeah, it's a case, as we said, it's inconsistent writing, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's the part that's failing. He's actually doing his best to bring it, as we're saying, understand the assignment and bringing those pieces together. How do you take those, like, okay, this is clearly written by writer A. This script here is clearly by writer B. How
Yeah,
do I use these
yeah,
components to round
yeah,
the character out?
yeah, yeah,
That
yeah, yeah, yeah.
is the challenge.
Yeah. 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 On Laverne and Shirley, they did that by either replacing written dialogue with physical bits, according to Penny and Cindy, or they flat out yelled at the writing staff. That was just how they did it. I know Michael and David in particular would rewrite their lines. I don't know what Eddie did. I know if you read different drafts of scripts, you can see how we ended up with what we got in the show. But I don't know if he protested and said, "I'm not going to say this line."
Right. Right. Yeah, it's still a bit, it's part of the mystery of a show that's, not
Yeah.
as, the process isn't as documented. People haven't done these long form documentaries. Many of the people who were involved have passed away, so we don't have sometimes that overall more objective perspective of having all these different people's side of the story kind of come together, which is what we're able to get with other shows. Like even Happy Days, we get a little more of a glimpse of that because it was so much more it was at least so much more remembered.
Yeah.
It went on for much longer and so on and so forth. So anyway, but yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
as Eddie's career, he moved from
Yes.
Laverne Shirley, goes back, does more stage work. He gets a lot of, like, just pieces here and there, pieces here and
Yep.
there.
Yep.
And as the 2000s start to, pick up, he starts to end up in, he starts to get into faith-based films.
Yes.
That becomes kind of a recurring element. Clearly, this was something that was very important to him, or at the very least, it was something that he looked at as like this, because when you do faith-based films regularly, it's either that the money's very good, and that's rarely the case, or it's that you believe in the cause, and and that definitely speaks to him as a person, that he believed that this was the thing to do to try to help entertain people while also giving something back to the world.
Yeah. Yeah. He appeared in Pastor Greg, which I think is on CBN. I think Christian Broadcasting Network. Which is a sitcom, obviously about Pastor Greg. He appeared on 2 episodes of that show. He did a lot of faith-based films, including the infamous "See Me Dance,"
Oh
which,
God.
which, if you are a fan of different B movie reviewers like we are, you've probably seen this movie recapped in the places.
Yeah, it's
His fun,
definitely.
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to just quickly say the trailer alone is worth watching just to kind of get a beat on it. Because, because Lisa and I don't believe, in the more traditional, fire and brimstone and the devil and, evil spirits kind of stuff, and so a trailer like that is interesting.
Yeah. It's kind of south of Pureflix world, but
Right.
slightly less horrifying, but not really, depending on what your theology is. It's like, yeah, it's like, would you rather watch this or would you rather watch Old Fashioned? You would rather watch See Me Dance than Old Fashioned. But it's very interesting. And then at the same time, Eddie would be doing secular work. At the same time, would he be doing Christian flicks and all kinds of stuff like that? It's very interesting. It's interesting how he balanced those 2 sides of his career.
It is.
Uh,
And
his final role was in Hail Mary, which came out in 2018. Yeah, and during this entire time, he was also recording music. He released an album called "With a Little Ragu on the Side," where he sang a lot of standards, and I believe that's still available digitally, and you can actually stream it on Spotify.
It
So
does, I believe, to be so as
yeah,
of January 22nd, 2022.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Rags to
So
Riches, of course, is number one track
yeah,
on
yeah,
on there. Yep.
yeah. So if you want to hear a little bit of Eddie's musical side, you can go grab that album and listen to it whenever you want, and I think that's really nice because his musical work on Laverne and Shirley often has been completely excised from the syndication prints and DVD edits that are currently circulating because of rights issues.
Mm-hmm.
And that stinks because those will often be Eddie's only appearance in an entire episode. And it's just gone. It's just stricken from posterity. It's terrible. So you fill that hole in with his music
Indeed.
and listen to it if you can.
If you can. I also do want to point out regarding his music career. So his first wife from 83 to
Yes.
92 was Dealey Lively. And I was surprised to find that in the middle of the 80s, after Laverne and Shirley had ended, one of the songs that the two of them had done together called Every Night ended up in a rather sleazy horror film called
Oh my.
Evils of the Night. I mean, it is grade A mid 80s schlock VHS exploitation kind of grindhouse film. And
Intriguing.
and I'm just curious, how did he get involved in this project? Was it him? Did him and and Delise do the track and it got licensed? Because sometimes that can happen.
Possibly.
Was it that they knew somebody on it? It is wild. It was a
That's
bummer that
amazing.
he also, as we're saying, in terms of like these different roles, he'd be like singers, show business, boxers, mobsters, the like. He did play mobsters very hilariously convincingly in the sense that
Yes.
he played the stereotype really well, despite being of Armenian descent, which I also still find amusing.
Yeah.
It's very of his era, but it's interesting. It's all of these different things. It's a heck of a place to have gone to from. I'm kind of losing my train of thought, but like
It's okay.
but the theater starts with theater, gets the TV show, gets to do singing, gets to do dancing. This multi-talented individual, and
Yes.
at the age, and passing at the age of 69, and it's still, it feels too,
Young.
young.
Yeah. Yeah. It's sad. It's sad he went this young. It's tough. It's tough. Yeah. And he has a daughter. So when you think about that, it's like, gosh, he was here for a longer amount of time.
Yeah.
If we're gonna talk about though, Eddie's music shows up on the oddest soundtracks. If you really think about it, he performed "Big Boss Man," which is an Elvis track, on the movie Mafia on the Bounty.
Wait, what?
And
What? Whoa.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, which is about, among other things, the mafia and sailors, and I believe somebody in there is gay, and it's a weird little movie, and Eddie has a song on that, and he's literally billed on the front of the 45 as Eddie Carmine Mekka.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you can just look it up. It's right
That
there.
is just, my God. I'm just looking at the cast and everything. This film
Yeah,
sounds,
amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, I'm shocked and amazed. I do love that it was directed by the guy who apparently wrote Dark Places, the 70s horror film,
Huh.
or thriller, I
Well,
should
I did
say.
not know that.
Yeah, it's a
Did not know
Christopher Lee
that
movie.
until
Yeah, Christopher Lee, Joan Collins.
exactly.
Anyway, but yeah, but
That is
anyway,
cool.
yep. Um, yeah, this is, remember, folks, if you are not familiar with our podcast, this is what you do. You come for Laverne and Shirley, you stay for the obscure movie references and me going into 25 degrees of IMDb.
25 degrees of IMDb. The game where you win and lose at the same time. Oh,
My soul is so empty now. Anyway.
oh dear. I was going to say, I was going to say, when you think about Eddie's level of energy,
Mm-hmm.
uh, just remember the fact that he could keep up with Madonna in a dance sequence.
When he was, God, how old would he have been by that point? Like
Somewhere in his 40s, I think.
about 40?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, and he
Gosh.
could kick butt. And
Mm-hmm.
he looked great next to her.
Mm-hmm. Man, way to go, Eddie.
Man alive. Did you know he and Aaron Moran did a movie together?
I noticed that in his when I was looking up the research, I wasn't able to kind of track it down. That's the reason why I didn't bring it up. I'm having
Yeah, I was
trouble.
gonna say, yeah,
Yeah,
it's too bad. That's too bad because I actually want to watch that.
I know.
It's
Especially Code Enforcer.
yes, it is entitled Code Enforcer.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
There's
because
there's
it's
even a article if you Google for it from the Austin
oh
Chronicle.
neat.
Yeah, when they were shooting, there was a local Austin Chronicle article about the two of them being on there for the 21-day shoot.
Oh, that's
Uh,
cool. That's
okay,
really cool.
a tale of a homeowners association gone wrong while working on another film.
Huh. Okay, that's unique. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good watch. Ah, by the way, I figured out the title of that play. It's Meshuggah Nuns.
That is an amazing title.
That is, I love it. I'm going to. Future Chris is going to put up a picture, and I am going to send present Chris a photograph of the two of them together in this play in 2 minutes as soon as I can find it.
Future me, you know what to do. Oh, that is precious.
It's
Oh,
glorious.
that is precious. Lightly
It's
salted.
adorable.
And the blue nun wine. Oh,
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah, yeah. I love it. I love the sense of humor that the two of them had when they worked together.
Mm-hmm.
They just had such a good sense of humor about everything they're doing. At the moment, Cindy is touring her one woman show, and she talks about all of her cast members, and I'd love to hear what she has to say about Eddie in it.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll be unable, I think, to make it to any of the shows. I think her
Yeah,
tour dates are going to go too far away for us to
yeah,
make an easy
yeah.
jaunt.
Yeah, she's staying far away from my coast and far away from Chris's section of the coast,
Yep.
as far as I can tell. So far.
Yeah.
Knock on wood for us, universe.
Come on, universe. You knock that wood. You get us some luck there.
Yeah. But as we think about Eddie in the role of a Jewish guy, he played Tevye in Fiddler on the Roof multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
Which you can absolutely picture, can't you?
I totally can. God, yes, I can.
Can't tell me you can't picture
I
him with all of that fatherly energy and that beery, hearty strength in him.
oh, totally. Yeah, just there were times when he just burst, and that's what I loved about about that character and that story, in the play, in that
Yeah.
play, in that musical,
Yeah.
is that it's like he just is like bursting through the door and just like bringing this sense of life everywhere, and it seems like in many ways that was something Eddie was able to do in a lot of the things he worked on.
Yeah, he definitely could. And he could definitely bring that to everything he did. I mean, when you think of the different things he got to do on Laverne Shirley, whether it was performing in the dance routine, whether it was trying to make you believe in Carmine and Shirley's romance, whether it was trying to build a realistic friendship between himself and the boys, or a realistic kind of father-son relationship between him and Frank, and even having this forbidden thing with Laverne.
Mm-hmm.
He could do all of that credibly. And that's
Exactly.
all kinds of different relationships and all kinds of different things that are on the spectrum of human experience. And that's really, that's another pointer how good he was.
Indeed. Yeah, I've in many ways, as much as we strive forward, I think many of us out there who create the arts only can dream to be as talented as Mr. Mekka.
Yes, indeed. He was indeed nominated for a Tony for The Lieutenant, which was on Broadway. It was a rock opera.
Ah.
And it was and it happened just before Laverne Shirley for him, and that's pretty impressive. Takes a lot of talent to do that.
That does. Good Lord, does it? Yeah, that is. I hear that's a tough crowd.
Oh yeah, oh
But
yeah.
yeah, so I don't know if there's much else for us to say. We've done our best to kind of give a little, I guess, our little farewell from the show to Eddie, as we now have no opportunity for him in this lifetime to hear our pod and tell us why the heck you picking on Carmine so much. Uh,
Why you
but
picking on Carmine? Hey.
eh. But But that being said, we thank you so much for the role that you gave us, Eddie, and for those of you listening, we thank you for joining us and taking a little trek down the career path of one Edward Rudolph Mekjian.
Yes. Yeah. We're gonna miss that man. He always had a good sense of humor and a good sense of joie de vivre about him, and that is what I'll think of whenever I think of them.
Yep,
Yeah.
I think so as well. Right. Anyway,
Yeah.
and if we end up tacking this on to another episode, which we're not entirely sure because we're recording this just to finally make sure that we had the time, we had the capability, we had the tech. We're gonna make it happen. So if we tack this on to another episode, we will let you listeners get on with the rest of it. And if you were just getting this on as a one-off, then we just hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Have a great day. Have a great time. Enjoy your life. Just enjoy your lives and do whatever you can with hours you got.
It's definitely the big ragu way.
Definitely. Welcome to Night After Night, a podcast about 8 seasons in a row. I'm Lisa Fernandez, and
I am Chris Jaiwardena. Hello.
we're about to review Fire Show, which is from season 4 of Laverne Shirley. It was directed by Joel Zwick and written by Jeff Franklin. I bet you Chris has some facts about the two of them, don't you, Chris?
Yeah, so Jeff Franklin's an interesting case. He had been doing story consulting through most of the season and finally gets a written by credit on this episode. Now, although this was his first episode of Laverne and Shirley, he goes on to get writer credit for 12 more for the series and becomes a producer around season 5-ish. He also did work on Bosom Buddies and the Bad News Bears TV show. He worked on the script for Summer School, which is a blast because I love that movie. And yeah, it's funny though, Jeff really never, the things he did never really went anywhere. He created this really obscure sitcom called Full House.
That's awesome.
Anyway, I don't know. Maybe somebody will finally I don't know. Maybe Netflix will pick that up for another series or something. I don't know. Anyway,
our audience is gonna feel like they're stepping out of the Twilight Zone listening to that one.
Oh my gosh, yeah, people just step, suddenly they walk out of the Twilight Zone into this episode and it's like, what the hell? Anyway, Joel Zwick, this is for Joel, this is his 8th episode of the series and lots more to go. Many more to go still. Interesting trivia note for Joel today. Despite being rather successful with directing pilot episodes for shows that became rather well known, he also did direct a 1982 TV pilot for Little Darlings based on the film with Tatum O'Neal and Christy McNichol. So wasn't always batting 100 there.
I didn't even know they had a pilot attached to that movie. It aired, huh? But that's like, I swear in the 80s they tried to take every single sex comedy in the history of the universe and turn it into a PG-ified TV version.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got Ferris Bueller show, you got Fast Time at Ridgemont High show, you got this. That's very fascinating. I did not know that at all.
Yep, and of course, it also that same TV pilot / TV movie also includes Michael McManus, aka Moose, the one who who gets dates so he doesn't beat up Ted Stryker.
Gosh, that episode has been following us around. It tends to follow us. It tends to follow the podcast around. Period. But the show, it tends to just trickle all the way down through the seasons, which is it's interesting. And here's what the episode is about. While trying to get warm during a frigid Nat Street night, Shirley tucks a waffle iron into Laverne's bed and accidentally lights the sheets on fire. They call in the fire department and a hunky guy arrives to put it out, Ted Nelson. He soon attracts the affection of both girls, and they wrangle a fire safety demo with him. A battle ensues for his affection, won by Laverne, who gets
the dynamite kiss out of him as well as date. But Ted seems to have stood Laverne up, breaking her heart. Boys try to help out, while also trying to get access to her TV set for the night. But when Carmine arrives and agrees to take Laverne out to the movies to get her mind off of her troubles, while Shirley's out planting nuts for squirrels who didn't plan ahead for the winter, Lenny and Squiggy promptly convince Shirley that Carmine and Laverne are in love. Ted promptly shows up. He takes Shirley out. The two of them arrive at the movies and see Laverne and Carmine setting up a 3D showdown for the girls. So what do you think of this episode?
This feels like this strange like game of tug of war for me. There are parts I really like, and then there are parts that really frustrate me.
Yeah.
There are parts I really like, and there's parts that frustrate me.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, first of all, I want to point out Ted Nelson, fireman. I liked him.
Yeah.
You know, he's not the most interesting guy.
Yeah.
But he's sweet, and I also like how aware he is of Laverne being into him.
Yeah.
And how he's playing with it.
Yeah.
You know, he's playing with it without teasing her. I really like that.
Yeah,
I thought that was super cute.
That's cute.
And I actually, you know, as much as I hate the sitcom jealousy arc that they do, and not even just sitcom, like a childish sitcom. This is like a kid's show.
Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah, that's actually.
This is, and as a 90s kid, you saw this a lot.
Yeah.
On like Nickelodeon and other shows that had, especially like middle school and high school characters.
Yeah, yeah. There's a reason why people who were refugees of the sitcom world in the 90s and 80s ended up working on Nickcoms and Discoms in the zeros and tens. You could kind of see the way the tone shifted to that particular network. And here's a pretty good precursor. This isn't my absolute favorite episode. I don't find Ted as entertaining as you do. The girls fighting over a guy is just, it's just been done already. It's been done. There's some funny bits that come with this, but I just get tired of them fighting over dudes. We've already settled a season ago, 2 seasons ago now. In fact, it's 2 seasons ago, correct? We've already settled the notion that they will not fight each other over a guy. And here they go again. For me, the best parts of the episode arrive with the boys. In this particular episode, they are a really big highlight. Even though they're really, really super conniving as they try to break Shirley's heart there, just so they can kind of get alone time with the TV set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's cute.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah.
And especially, well, I mean, those parts I like because I was trying to scroll through. I was kind of distracted because I was scrolling through my notes here. And first of all, I love the delivery of the line, the spectacular.
Yes.
Instead of the
such a David delivery. It's so beautiful. Yes.
Yeah, Lloyd Bridges, London Bridges. Who cares? You know. But
they are great. They are great in this episode. That's just
and I love how it's like they're trying to help her in their own ways, and like Lenny's like trying to cheer her up, and then and Squig's trying to give her the cold hard truth, and
Lenny wants her there. Lenny wants her there to watch that episode of the Spectacular.
Yep.
He wants her there. He wants her to be with them, and Squiggy just wants to get rid of her.
which I mean, God, can you imagine how many times that has happened to them in the past? You know, because Lenny's clearly has had that thing for her forever. So.
Yep. They've clearly been like this probably ever since they hit their teens. It's been like that for centuries, and he's just shut up and give me time alone with the TV set, baby.
Yep.
Lenny's like, no. Yeah. We have to start with the absolutely adorable opening scene here, where the girls are just trying to get warm. They're pouring warm drinks, and I love the notion of them talking about someday they'll have both. Someday they'll have the husband and the nice warm beds. And...
the electric blanket.
Yes, the
electric blanket or husband. Yeah. And I like how when I mean, obviously this is just me, but I like the phrasing of it, of a husband, and it was like, wait a minute, you can share a blanket, but you can't really share a husband. And I thought, like, wait a minute.
Laverne Shirley, the Mormon years.
Whoa! Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good.
Surprisingly, that does not happen in this show, but we got pretty close to it. Wait for season 8. Anyway.
Grief. The
yeah,
other
go
thing
ahead.
I was just also gonna uh the Carmine coming in delivering the pizza from down the street.
Yeah.
um I mean, obviously, okay. I could be mean to Carmine and say snap him, Laverne, snap him. I won't. I won't say it seriously. I I've had I just wanted to point out that is a very relatable experience because I used to pre pandemic I used to take a long trip to Lake Oswego and then have to bus all the way back out here into Washington County, other parts of Washington County.
Yeah.
And I would always get gluten-free cupcakes from Kira's Bake Shop in Lake Oswego and bring them home to my mother.
Yeah.
So I've had that experience of literally having snow coming down on me as I'm trying to get them home as fast as I can.
Oh dear.
So yeah, it's I know that feel, Carmine.
Yeah. When you have been in a snowy region, you will have experienced this. And the gang are poor. I mean, they have to run around in the elements a lot to try to get home and get safe. Get even a tiny bit, a little modicum, a little bit warm. Which leads the girls to put a freaking waffle iron in bed. I don't know what Shirley's thinking. She's normally more level-headed than this. You can see, that almost feels like something the Shirley that we have seen over the past few seasons wouldn't do. She's smarter than that, but yeah.
I mean, truthfully, that's been one of my biggest issues with season 4 overall, is that it's like they want to do something different with Shirley, but they don't know what. And it feels so often like they're trying to kind of pigeonhole her into something, and it or just like a certain, like they make her a little more ditzy, or they make her a little more sexy, or they make her a little more prudish, and it's very weird, and I guess it just comes off as very perfunctory or arbitrary based on whatever they need for the episode.
Yeah. It feels like they have a stronger grasp on who Laverne is.
Right.
And that eventually leads to Laverne being flanderized as we head into season 5 and season 6 and season 7. But they have a better grasp on who she is as a character. Shirley is the innocent, the virginal, the proper. Before she was the super intelligent, she at least aspired to intelligence, aspired to the hoi polloi. At the tail end of season 4, we get her acting really ditzy, really goofy, especially in the final episode of the season, to the point where it's almost OOC. It's almost out of character for her to be that dumb and that nice. She's naive. She's not stupid. And they seem to forget that completely, especially in this episode and that episode. Yeah. I love Laverne's comment about Shirley's comment about Laverne's overactive spit glands.
Yeah, the 70s implication of that one. Oh boy.
Yeah, wow. All 10 books of green stamps. All 10 books. I wanted to add about that frozen pizza, by the way, when Carmine comes in. You could tell that was just a grocery store frozen pizza that I'd never seen a heating lamp in its existence. The way it just slides on the box and you see the plastic on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I see that, I crack up because props did not even try. They could have at least, baked it and then refrozen it. So it would look like a pizza that was heated and then frozen outside, but no. It looks like the cold caused it to unbake itself. It's amazing.
I mean, hey, you never know. Maybe that's what happened to Carmine. He went through a time traveling snowstorm, and that's why it took him so long.
The secret of the flux capacitor.
Yeah, there we go. This is why you gotta make sure that you're careful with getting the flux capacitor or the oscillating overthruster. You got to be careful which one you're taking with you when you leave the house.
There you go.
You want to go to the 9th dimension, you get your oscillating overthruster. You want to go back in time, the flux capacitor.
Who knew that there was a DeLorean in Mr. DeFazio's bathroom? Who knew?
Bathroom DeLorean. Oh boy. Anyway,
it's your kids, Carmine. We gotta warn your kids. Anyway.
Oh my god. Now I just want to see it, because this all is, these are characters from the 50s. Now I want to see an AU, a Back to the Future
Oh my
AU.
God.
Laverne Shirley.
Oh God. Now
Anyway.
I have ideas. Don't give me ideas. Anyway.
Oh my god. We're recording this just like a couple of days, or like a day or so after Back to the Future Day, so that's why this is coming up.
Yes,
But quickly before I forget, the timing of the hello gag in this one I thought was really good. There are some things you just don't touch. Hello.
It's a
really
great
good.
gag. It's a great
And I
gag.
love they saved Jeffrey from the insecticide.
Yes, I thought that was so cute. I think isn't the ant farm in there, and also Squiggy's jar of flies? Moths.
Probably. I didn't notice them, but I got to watch it one more
Sworn
the episode another time because my mom hasn't watched it. So yeah.
Yeah, you can definitely see Jeffrey's tail though. And I love that the two of them consider Jeffrey real enough to grab to go save from the horrors of their apartment being bug bombed.
Yep.
So that's cute in its own way.
Uh,
Before we move on to the boys, real quick though, what do you think about the Laverne Carmine stuff going on here and the tension between Shirley and Carmine?
do not want.
Oh boy, you're not gonna like part season 5. Anyway,
It's
one episode in. God.
so here's if I might as well clarify a little bit about this so that I can at least explain myself a little bit, and we'll see. And we'll see. I may be able to be convinced to side. I mean, you were able to convince me of the Sam fee for Bird Notice at some point,
Yeah.
so it's like okay, I can be convinced, but
yeah.
The problem with Laverne and Carmine to me is that they seem like the kind of folks that would have dated in high school and then broken up. And then and then as they got a little older, like actually one of the things I kind of liked in was it season 2 or 3, the episode where, it was season 3, the dance studio episode where they had to fake as a couple.
Yeah.
Their chemistry in that episode, they're so uncomfortable. They look like they're brother and sister practically. Yeah. And it's like, that's the chemistry they have with each other because, because it's the kind of case of like, if, like, say, for instance, Carmine ends up marrying somebody else, and him and Shirley do part ways amicably, and things are okay. Yeah. I could almost see Carmine asking Laverne, I want you to be my best man. Like, that's the kind of relationship they have,
That's actually really cute.
And so it's just not how I see, I don't see them in that sort of romantic sexual tension sort of thing. And so, it's like, I see where it's going, but and I also, this comes back to it, and I'll finish my point really quickly.
No.
This just comes back to another issue I just have with television, and especially with what I grew up with and how it affected me personally, is it turns into this idea that boys and girls can't be friends. And that caused a lot of jealousy issues for me. That caused a lot of emotionally uncomfortable situations for me and kind of fucked me up psychologically, to be completely frank, for years. And it took about like a good 10 years for me to work that out of my system from age 17 to 27. So things like this and the way this is handled can go die in a fire.
We'll see how you feel about this when we end up in season 8 and Laverne and Carmine basically have nobody else to talk to but each other. We'll get there. Oh, we'll get there. The show tries this pairing on like a shoe, on and off throughout its run. And the problem is that Penny and Eddie have a different chemistry together. It really does come off brother and sisterly. They try it, and they do try it. They realize that it's so filled with static that they can't stand one another to avoid spoiling you for the future. Because we have not watched season 5 yet, but we'll get there. We will get there soon. Next year, as of this taping. But to me, that's the way that always reads. I know a lot of people who enjoy them together. I know a lot of people who find their chemistry very appealing. So it's very much a your mileage may vary thing, but I always do pick up the brother-sister chemistry between the two of them when I watch the show too.
Yeah.
It's not like electric what you see with Michael and Penny when you see Laverne and Lenny together.
Mm-hmm.
where it's obviously they act like little kids who tug each other's braids to show how much they love each other.
Right. Or even
Yeah.
what we've seen and discussed with Shirley and Squiggy, where
Yeah.
if Squiggy had grown up out of his boy phase, like, 6-7 years ago, they would have gotten along a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But, and coming back to the whole show doing this Laverne Carmine thing is, I mean, clearly its entire goal is to show Shirley as a control freak. And
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
Because
I directly had
I was just going to say, every time this keeps coming up, and this comes up multiple times through season 4, is I have my note, "Hi, Lily," and that's it's because it's her mom. That's all that it is.
Yeah.
That's what I hate about. I've really disliked about this season so far.
Yeah, because Shirley does have this weird control freak tendency, especially in this season. It's an extension of her mothering. The way she tends to mother people. She'll be protective of Laverne and Squiggy and even Lenny to a degree. And that is her, kind of like her little Wendy Darling instinct or impulse, where she must be mother, must kiss the forehead and make the airplane noises and shove oatmeal into Laverne's mouth.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah, we're a couple episodes away from that.
Yes, we are. But that basically did happen in season 1 during Bowling for Raspberries. So
True.
We already have precedent. I'm sure we're not spoiling anybody for this almost 50-year-old show at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah. I did have one specific note. Never touch Carmine. Oh, controlling Cheryl. So we're on the same page with that one. Enter the boys.
Yes.
And then they have to try to get into the girl's bedroom, which I found hilarious. How many times do I need to tell you not to go into our bedroom?
Right.
They're not even trying to do anything dirty for once. They just want to dump the stuff off.
Yep. It's like they'll be tempted. Come on, let's be real here. As soon as they see the dresser, they're gonna be like, "Oh, hello."
There is a line in season 5 where the boys are told that the lingerie drawers have been mouse trapped. Both the girls' lingerie drawers. So.
Oh gosh, I was thinking they just need to create a combination lock.
Yeah, at this point, yeah.
Or some obtuse Silent Hill style Zodiac puzzle.
You need to go get the thing from the door. Go get the door knocker. Shove the door knocker into the hole.
Oh god, the door knocker. Oh my god. Oh god, you just gave me Resident Evil Code Veronica flashbacks.
Yeah, that was deliberate. That was what I was thinking of.
Oh my god. I also do love the exchange when the waffle iron does its thing and sets off the fire, starts smoking. Yeah. The smoke means your waffle is ready. And my comment is very good, Squig.
The way David says that line is so hilarious. And you can picture that's exactly how Squiggy would cook. Of course, that's how he cooks. The implication is that Lenny's the one who tends to cook for them when they have to cook in. From what I remember from various episodes from season 3, season 2, when he brings down old Betsy the ladle to beat up the girls, non-existent robbers. But I love that line so much. David is on point this season. Squiggy is really funny this season. And specifically in this episode, he is a highlight. I love that Lenny's trying to spit out the fire.
And I love
Did you notice that?
Yeah, God. And just I spitting for distance, man. That's not that's diminishing returns on your water expulsion.
Yep.
And
then Squiggy, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, so I'm getting also Dune flashbacks of the from it actually. I don't know if this film's this part. I haven't seen David Lynch's version, but the scene in the when the first Freeman comes to visit Leto and spits, and first everyone takes it as an offense. The idea is like, no, that is an honor, and it's like I can imagine them gasping in horror. It's like, Lenny, no, Leonard, don't give up your water. How dare you?
The spice must flow. The sauerkraut must flow. And the pizza sauce. I was gonna say, I love it when Squiggy pauses as the boys are running out to grab a hose to try and attempt to save the girls and save their belongings. And he goes, "Would you like water or would you prefer juice?"
My note to that is, that's not so good, Squig.
Yeah. Yeah, he's trying.
He's trying.
He's trying.
He's trying. He's being a good. I guess he's being a good guest or a host. I don't know.
Yeah.
And of course, I remember when we watched this episode, we both were flipping out over Shirley getting the valuables, and it turns it's her valuables.
Yep. She does not think about Laverne in this situation. The two of them are doing something really stupid in that they are calling the fire department from their burning apartments. You don't do that.
Yeah.
You never do that. Even in the days before mobile phones, you don't do that. You throw the fire alarm, you get outside so you don't die.
Mm-hmm.
I can name a number of fire disasters where things like that happens, and you don't stay there. You go. You get out the nearest available exit.
But
I love that did lead to some good humor.
Oh yeah, like the callback about the album.
Yeah, but I love this album.
So we have Boo Boo Kitty, but now we have a new. Here comes a new challenger. I'm tempted to have future me put in Street Fighter music, but the new challenger, Poo Poo Puppy.
Poo Poo Puppy.
I don't see that catching on.
No, it didn't. I think this is really the only time it actually gets referred to by name. I'm pretty sure eventually Poo Poo Puppy ends up in Laverne's possession. Kind of like to kind of give her a little stuffed animal like Shirley had Boo Boo Kitty. But it never catches on as a character or a specifically embryonic possession of Laverne's. Or Shirley's. So this is really the only time it gets called out by name. I love Laverne's. We got a couple of idiots helping us right now.
Yeah, think you could hurry that up?
Yeah. And then Lenny not realizing he has to anchor the other side of the hose into the water supply.
Mm-hmm.
Their boys are trying so hard in this scene, but of course they're not, they're using boy level logic.
Yep.
Level logic.
They are still clearly 6.
Yes. But they think fighting a fire is exciting. They're not thinking about the danger. This will come back to haunt them in season 5. This actually is building to something in season 5.
Oh, geez.
I will not reveal it, but it is sad. It will get there.
Mm-hmm.
How delightfully queer was a sight of Lenny walking out of the room with Squiggy in his arms.
I've been singed, Len.
That was great too. That was great.
That's my note is, wow, Squiggy ends up in Lenny's arms a lot this season.
He does.
Because Chorus Line was the other one I was thinking of.
Yeah. At one point, I think in Honeymoon Hotel, he carried him. I think there's a couple of more instances throughout the show.
Obviously, there's the big one in Driving Test.
Yes. I'll take that lousy test. It's gonna get choking me to death. So then we get the awkward voiceover from Penny as Laverne talking about the hot fireman, and enter Ted Nelson, fireman.
Yes, Ted Nelson, fireman. So I want to mention, now that we're going to talk about Ted Nelson as a character, I love the discovery I made about this actor and his history as an actor. So he was played by Lawrison Driscoll. Sadly, he did pass away about a year and a half from this recording. So I should say he passed away in 2019, because God knows whenever people are going to be listening to this episode. Yeah. He sadly doesn't return to the show, so I'm a little bummed about that. However, I did like him in this episode, and Driscoll is in one of my favorite 70s grindhouse movies, Rolling Thunder. He's the sheriff boyfriend.
No way. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, and anyone who likes gritty 70s revenge movies, Rolling Thunder is like one of the kings. Devane and Tommy Lee Jones are amazing in that.
Yes. Definitely. I had no idea he was in that. But yeah, we do get a couple of verbal Ted Nelson Fireman mentions. And I have a feeling that they were trying to audition the character as a replacement for Norman Hughes. But sadly, after a couple of mentions, he fades out. Laverne is more single, and then stuff happens in season 5, which we will get to. So this is the only rule. We get maybe 2 episodes where he gets mentioned, and then bye-bye, Ted Nelson.
And it's a bummer. Because as I mentioned, I like that he's cute and kind of innocent in a way, and kind of when my Resident Evil friends and I talk about Leon Kennedy, we call him a bucket puppy. You know, he's like a puppy with a bucket on its head.
Oh
and
my goodness.
And Ted's like, he's an older version of that, but he's not quite as dumb to get a bucket stuck on his head, which Leon, on the other hand, is.
Yeah. He's very stalwart and true and nice.
Stalwart. That's a good word for it.
Yes. He just doesn't do it for me, but he's not the worst Laverne boyfriend ever. So I will take him. I won't take him over Norman. I won't take him over a couple other guys we'll meet in canon, but he's okay. I will say he's okay. He's not repulsive and awful like Jake the Snake. So,
right.
Could be worse.
Right.
Could be worse.
And because that's the one catch is, you know, jumping into the core of this episode, the audience through this taping of the episode, they are so here for the girls fighting over the guy shtick, and no.
Yeah, I know, which is a bit much. The physical comedy though that happens is great as the girls try to fight over who gets to speak to him. And I did like the line, Laverne DeFazio, available.
I forgot it. Cute. I don't have that one marked out. I love that one though. That's good.
I love it too.
And the whole thing, and she bites by this big note. She bit the hair. She bit the hair.
Yanks it right out of her head. We'll tip it back on. We'll tip it back on. That was very much them as their Happy Days selves.
Yes.
I recently rewatched A Date with Fonzie, and boy, is that like Happy Days version of them, where they will beat the crap out of each other and give each other crude and quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that happens. We saw it in the festival or in the season, saw it in the Pact, where they will beat the crap out of each other in the hope of getting to a goal and then feel bad about it later.
Right.
That's very much that sisterhood, but will not hesitate to bloody your nose. It's that kind of sisterhood.
Right. There are different types of the hoods.
We got another ear twerk in full.
That's right.
Notice something. Notice when Ted holds out that waffle iron, it is in amazingly good shape.
Yeah, I was surprised by that.
It was in a horrible inferno. We hear that Laverne's bed has been destroyed eventually by the end of the episode, yet it is completely intact, and apparently it even looks functional. So I don't know. 50s ingenuity is all I can say.
I'm just imagining that waffle iron is it's that meme of that picture of the little girl smiling in front of the burning house.
Oh,
it's just a waffle. It's a waffle iron with a little smile on its face.
Yes. Enjoying the chaos. Wallowing in the chaos.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, like that's fitting. I love that line, of course, that classic line. I'm allowed to date other men, and he's allowed to date ugly women. Which comes up again. Yeah, I believe it first came up in Playing the Roxy, unless I'm losing it. Was it Roxy or was it Eraserhead? It was probably Eraserhead.
It's Eraserhead, yeah, because Roxy is pre-Eraserhead. Eraserhead is the very first mention that they ever had an understanding, which makes a lot of episodes not make any freaking sense.
Yep. Yeah, especially dating Slope, because Shirley is brokenhearted. God.
Well, the implication is the understanding happened off camera sometime around the end of season 2 or early season 3. That's the implication.
Yeah, after they get back together again.
Yeah. For this, God.
The trouble with Shirley and Carmine's relationship, as we'll probably get to by the end of the season, is that the writers seem to have no idea what the heck they want to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they're very, very close and very, very committed and very, very into each other and very much an old married couple. Sometimes they're willing to throw each other over for the next exciting thing. Sometimes they're just casually dating and having fun with one another and they don't see each other as a future. Sometimes this is my destiny, I love this person. So it's probably writing room conflict is all I can imagine, and them not having a book, because otherwise it is massively and horrifyingly inconsistent, this relationship at this point in canon.
Yeah, to the point that I would not mind too much, even though I think the episode actually showcasing it would be sad. Seeing them officially break up, like for good, like Eddie leaves the show. I mean, because there would be a sense of loss. As much as I give him crap, I mean, there would definitely be a loss there. However, I also would be okay with it as like, surely you can move on. You can get better boyfriend, a better regular boyfriend, which is the other thing is Shirley dates other men. She doesn't have another man. That's the interesting, and that's kind of the thing with both of them that makes their relationship frustrating.
Yeah. It's there aren't very many other men besides Carmine that Shirley really, really cares about in a romantic way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the narrative kind of suffers. It's like Carmine or bust. And then Carmine's off, having easy sex for money, basically.
Right.
So, which makes it hard to root for them. It makes it hard to feel excitement about their relationship when neither of them know what the heck they want half the time. They're frustrating. There are some episodes where they are so cute, though. The next episode coming, they are very cute together. It's a really sweet little episode that we're going to do next.
I hold back comment until we get there just because I don't want to spoil my reaction for the audience.
And I respect that. So now we get over to the fire safety demo in which Mrs. Kolchak is there.
Yes.
Just gawking at everybody. I love Mrs. Kolchak.
Mrs. Kolchak, she's so wonderful. Before we get too far ahead, I want to point out that I really liked Frank in this scene.
Yes.
His exchange, I used to be a voluntary farmer before the war. No kidding. I didn't get it to my question yet. My question is, don't want to hear about it. No. Well, someday you're going to be pretty sorry about that.
Yeah.
And as stupid as it is, I love that sweater.
I like that sweater too. Frank is so done with everything and everybody in this scene. It's like he knows that Laverne is doing this so she can get a date from this dude. And it's totally unnecessary because he's already been through the training. He knows what to do. And Anna definitely has to know most of the stuff to run the building so that they have safe egress in case there's a serious fire and everybody has to evacuate. So they all know they're there for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just watching the endless festival that is the girls trying to convince this guy to take them out.
Yep.
The fire extinguisher gag is really funny.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't mentioned that.
Yeah, and I love Laverne's line, please don't get mad. We'll have dinner all next week.
I'm going to go shave my sweater.
Also, I love Edna and her look in this episode. I mean, I love Edna's looks most of the time anyway, but I liked it in this one. Big
ups once again for wardrobe, making Betty Garrett look so fabulous throughout this whole show. She always looks great. Like, Edna's outfits are fantabulous.
It makes me wonder.
Edna herself is fantabulous. Yes.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt there.
No.
I wonder if Betty was smart enough to make friends with the wardrobe crew, because that seems like the kind of thing that because they also say the same thing with actors: make friends with your camera person and your makeup person, because they're the ones that are going to make you look good more than in some ways the director.
Well, the girls ended up having conflicts, I think, with wardrobe and makeup. I know initially in season 1, in spite of creating the Laverne insignia, Penny wasn't that enthusiastic about what she had to wear because it reminded her of the outfits she had to put on back in the 50s.
Oh, jeez.
And she thought the fashions that she felt were unflattering on her body back then. And then she's just reliving it all over again. So she didn't enjoy at least part of that. I don't know, as the show got more popular, what the heck was going on when it came to picking your wardrobe person, picking your makeup person. But yeah. I'm pretty sure Betty must have had a good in because she always looks great. With the boys, it kind of doesn't matter because they're almost always wearing the same outfits. They almost always have the same makeup on. Though if you watch certain episodes, once again, you can notice that they will neglect to do Michael's legs or his arms, and he'll be paper white and the rest of him is peach colored, which is hilarious to me always. Okay, yes. I love the line, Laverne's chewing gum. She's about to lie down on the couch to get mouth to mouth from Ted. She spits out her gum into Shirley's hand.
Mm-hmm.
What a dainty wad.
Oh my God, that line.
That's a great line.
The thing I was going to mention about that as well is that I love how into it Ted is. He's like, with that scene, he's not intending to go too far, but he's definitely enjoying it. He's picking up on the situation, as we're saying. Like, it's not really that necessary for them to go to this much trouble and this much of a gag, but he's having fun playing the game.
Yeah. Yeah. He's just enjoying having two pretty girls flirt over him.
Yeah.
And fuss over him and to try to, get a day out of him, spend time with him. What guy wouldn't be flattered? Unless you're apparently a critic for a newspaper in the 70s insulting Penny and Cindy's looks, which I retweeted that article recently. It's going to be years from now by the time you guys hear this. But, God, they were awful about their appearances. But yeah, Ted is enjoying this. He's kind of living it. And by the time he focuses on Laverne and he's really into Laverne, he's like, date, go with. Pretty girl, take me out.
Well,
really
my note is take the deep breath and blow, and then my next note after that is then he realizes he has a boner and meanwhile Laverne has seen God.
Yes. Oh my God, that was my exact next note. Laverne has seen God. Funny. And also alluring posing, which she definitely is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. Kolchak just living every second of this. Edna's just doesn't know why she's here, but she's just enjoying it.
Edna's I believe Edna's gone by the point. It's Kolchak and Shirley.
That's right. She left with Frank when he went to go shave his sweater.
Yeah, because I have my note is between them, they're looking on and loving, and I love the synchronized breathing because it's like they're trying to match the breath, and then they realize that they're just actually getting into, I keep saying Laverne's the exhibitionist, Shirley is the voyeur. I keep saying this. Yeah. I'm going to keep arguing this point. I take this as confirmation.
Yeah. Honestly, that those two stereotypes kind of do fit them. Laverne is definitely the exhibitionist. And she's a voyeur. Shirley's a voyeur. Lenny's probably the voyeur, from what we know from him.
Oh, yeah.
Squiggy's also probably the exhibitionist, so you get two match sets there. In a way. I'm just
picturing Squiggy as the exhibitionist. He just, unzips his jacket with no shirt on underneath. He pulls it out and it goes foop like a fro coming out of a hair cap.
Oh, God. That would probably have been very accurate at that time.
With apologies to David Lander, hirsute men are not an unattractive thing. It's a beautiful thing. Bodies are bodies, and bodies and people are beautiful.
He just has very hairy arms, very hairy chest. You can tell that on the show. But yes. I love Ted's parting advice to the group. After he's been made out with and he's just giving himself his date. And Laverne's just looking after him like he's just the highest thing since sliced bread. He just turns around and says to all of them, "Don't play with matches." It's a great capper. It's a great capper to the scene.
And then I guess we go to the we go into the standing, quote unquote, being stood up thing and the whole rest of the episode. And it's just, I mean, what I don't like about this is they do point out it's been 3 hours past the scheduled time, but he is a fireman.
Yeah.
I think the rash decision to go out with somebody else to kind of get her troubles away. I mean, just kick the boys out of the apartment, man. If you're really not, if you're not into it, just kick them out. If you need someone to talk to, then just literally have Carmine kick the boys out.
Yeah.
And just hang out and wait for Shirley to come home because, this is okay.
Yeah.
And, but
I was gonna say, or if you want to, you can just sit there and listen to the TV show with the two of them. Yeah.
Yep.
It's just it's very convoluted, and the boys are meaner than they have been this season towards her. They're really excited about breaking Shirley's heart, which is kind of in character most of the time for them. But considering how much closer they're getting the girls, and they have been getting the girls over the past season, it's kind of
Yeah.
That they're being that mean. The two of them.
Oh, boy. Yeah. I did like Carmine rescuing Laverne from the boys' treatment of her because he probably had to do that for her and Shirley for years in middle and high school.
Save me, Carmine.
Jeez. Also, I gotta say, Murder at the Amusement Park, that re-release title for Strangers on a Train really spoils the ending, doesn't it?
Definitely. Sheesh. I love that it's in 3D, and I love that people just move and groove with whatever the heck's happening on screen when they watch it later on in this episode. Yes, it's
If
an
it wasn't
incredible release title.
if it wasn't for the sitcom BS in that scene, that would be one of my favorite scenes in the whole show, the whole series, because
Yeah.
that is a great moment is fantastic of them reacting to it. And did you ever get to see a 3D movie in theaters with the red and green glasses? Or sorry, the red and blue glasses?
Actually, yes. God, when I was a kid,
Hmm.
a long time ago, I think it was that Rainbow Bright movie.
Oh wow,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, which was released in 3D.
nice.
I was like 6.
Cool. Yeah, I multiple chances for me. I got to see a reissue print of Creature from the Black Lagoon, followed by Extra Matter Space. But the one that was actually really cool to see with those glasses was Dial M for Murder. So speaking of Hitchcock films, that's the reason why I thought to bring that up.
I didn't even know they released that in 3D.
Yeah. It's and it's interesting because it's such a claustrophobic, like practically a one-room movie. You would think that it, because Rear Window 3D would have been amazing for, because of the sense of depth. But that's just the way.
Plus the additional feeling of voyeurism, so it adds on to it.
But yeah,
I did not know that.
Before I get too ahead of myself, I did want to mention this thing about the squirrels. And Shirley and the Psycho Squirrels, which I'm calling dibs on that band name. Now,
opening for Leather and the Suedes.
Nice. Lisa, have I told you the squirrel story?
I believe you have, but please repeat it for the audience.
Okay. So this was the last house my parents and I lived at before the one we're currently at now, as of this recording. I mean, who knows what'll happen by the time this episode comes out. Anyway, we had a squirrel that was a female squirrel. It clearly was pregnant, and it needed sustenance. It was a case of that my mother started kind of leaving seeds out for it and nuts out for it because it clearly wasn't going to make it through the season. It was very cold at the time, and it needed that support. I mean, there's a case if you could tell that the poor thing, it would sometimes even come rest after a while after nursing because it was tired. She looked exhausted. And then she started trying to get in the house.
Oh.
And then she started making very aggressive noises and hissing at my mother when she would come out without food in her hand. And then it started trying to chase us a little bit. And then it even taunted our cat with a haha, you can't catch me, went all the way up to the glass, and Mr. Kitty would zoom up to the glass and like, hiss at it. And she would stand there and like flash her teats at him, like, haha, you can't get me. And it was a dick of a squirrel. And it kept bothering us, I think, up until shortly before we moved out of there. So squirrels are crazy and terrifying. We thankfully haven't had any psycho squirrels like that since, though.
As someone who lives near a forest, I can affirm the fact that the squirrels around here are nutty as well. I think it's just a squirrel instinctive factoid that they're all insane. We had a problem where they would try to nest in our eaves, so that wasn't fun.
Oh, wow.
It really wasn't fun. Yeah, squirrels are just like that. I absolutely bought the notion of Shirley being chased by them. Absolutely. Completely. I wanted to point out about the scene before we get to Shirley. I wanted to say that Laverne is definitely wearing bell bottoms, isn't she? Those look like bell bottoms, don't they?
Oh my God. I don't have the episode handy for me to go review it right now, but I think you're right.
Totally anachronistic. Totally. I was like, why is she wearing bell bottoms? Oh my God, she's wearing bell bottoms. They're all orchid and bell bottomy. I believe, by the way, that those pants are for sale on eBay currently. So if you're a fan of the show, you get the cash. Pick her up.
Gosh.
I was going to say, I love like kissy face pressy bod.
Yeah, my personal favorite was, at the risk of being a very bad hostess, get out of my house.
My house. That's a great line. That is a really great line. This episode has a lot of fun dialogue, even though I'm not incredibly fond of it as a whole package.
Oh, yeah.
But it's got some great dialogue.
I mean, and Michael's delivery of the no fair when he gets mad that go ahead, Len, tell her how Laverne's out with Connor. Oh, man.
He's so upset. He was so upset. You promised. You get to break her heart. That was when he won via the coin toss. Just think of the last coin toss that they had. was for the proposal.
Oh, jeez.
Literally.
There may have been other there may have been other coin tosses we just haven't seen, and
sure.
that some decisions. But yeah, the boys ruining it. They keep effing up this season. I'm very done with it.
Yeah. Nothing is as bad as Bully Show. There's maybe one more episode where something as bad as Bully Show happens further into the series run, but that's pretty much the nadir of their behavior. That is the worst thing they have done and will ever do. I agree that they were really dickish in the talent show episode this season, and they're kind of in this episode too. The rest of the season, they're pretty all right. Yeah, pretty okay. Yeah, it's not that bad. It's not as awful as the peak of assholery that is Bully Show.
Right. Yeah. No, yeah. It doesn't get anywhere close to Bully Show, which is like horrifying that it even went there at all.
Yeah. In a comedy. By the way, folks, I want to inform you that Bully Show is actually on a VHS tape that was officially released by Columbia House Records. They had a whole VHS lineup back in the olden days when you either had to record their reruns off of television and save them, or buy these video cassettes.
Mm-hmm.
There was a Laverne Shirley Ultimate Collection from them. On a tape called Laverne in Love does Bully Show reside.
Kill me now.
How do you think I feel about it? The other episodes are Friendly Persuasion, which I can't wait till we get to, just so we can rip it apart. Because we're probably going to rip it apart. Fashion Show from Season 8. And I believe, it was Angels of Mercy. Angels of Mercy from Season 2. So, yep. I could come up
those are Laverne. Those are Laverne and... Oh, right, because Jerry doesn't deserve that.
Yeah, I could name 1,000 episodes where she's in love, and it's a main focal part of the plot line, and they are better than the episodes they selected.
God, wow. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, even the one that's coming up, The Feminine Mistake, even that one would fit better, even though it's still issues. We'll get to that.
Yes. Yeah, my recommended lineup for such a tape would be the following. You'd start out with New Year's Eve, 1959.
Mm-hmm. It's a good one.
Which is obviously a love story for her. Whitey the Fireman from Season 5, huge heartbreaker about a love story with her and a fireman. We'll get there. I would get Love Out the Window from Season 6, which is about her relationship with Sonny, the boyfriend she has for like 6 seasons in the California years. And I close it with Fashion Show, which is about her getting a steadier boyfriend in Season 8. It unfortunately doesn't work out because of real life circumstances, which we will also get to. But that pretty much reflects a spectrum of what it's like. If I had an extension on that, I would probably put a Sal episode on there. There's 2 Sal-related episodes. We have Folger at the Altar and Whatever Happened to Sal, which is in Season 7. Or I would do maybe one of Feminine Mistake, Watch the Fur Fly, or something like The Robbery, where you get to see Laverne making a butthead of herself over love, which she does. The way she changes herself for guys is a continued plot thread throughout the show. So you get a couple episodes that reflect that. But those would be my choices.
It's a good list.
Thank you.
So with that...
back on the subject.
Yeah, I was about to say. So now the sitcom setup and I have a big sigh this episode at this point as we go into it. That's right. One of my notes, I actually wrote down the movie's dialogue. Like, here comes Guido. Perhaps we could lose him on the roller coaster. Alfred, look up ahead on the track. It's a keg of dynamite.
How out of character, by the way, is Laverne clinging to Carmine in fear of the stupid movie? That
God, yeah.
So OC for me.
I mean, we're figuring, unless this movie was directed by, like, I don't know, Richard Fleischer or something. I mean, this is probably not that intense of a movie.
Yeah.
Especially with a title like Murder at the Amusement Park.
No. I get that it's probably supposed to be like a Roger Corman-ish B movie where it's really goofy stupid dramas happening. It's not going to be anything critically acclaimed. But yeah,
Right.
I like the authentic popcorn being sprinkled all over the ground, all over the rug, underneath the chairs. That was funny. And that was before Laverne throws popcorn all over everyone.
Yep.
Isn't that?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that whole setup is the set itself of the movie theater looks great. It looks very authentic. You and I both have been in old theaters that are from that era. That like it's like this captured the look, and and the audio and as you pointed out, them reacting, and that they're all in sync, and it's a large group that has to be coordinated like that. Was amazing.
Yeah, it was good direction. That was a good direction for Zwick. He did a really good job.
Yep. And I still love that the heroes in the film, we owe our lives to a bad batch of dynamite. I had to point that out before I forgot. But and then they settle in, they escalate into all out makeouts, and then there's
Laverne sucking on Carmine's fingers to bring that up. Just like, oh my god.
I noticed that on the first view and I missed it on the second one. You're right. Oh my god.
Oh, that was unhygienic, A, and B. Laverne, you're not genuinely trying to make out with this dude. What are you doing? She's sucking on his fingers in public. And it's like, and the guy's just like, hey. And then competitive makeouts happen, and they fight on the floor. Yeah.
Shirley did have the badass line, sure, what are you doing? Being sexy, like it or lump it.
Yeah, which is a great line. We needed more of that, Shirley, in the season. And in the show period. That's my little opinion.
Yep.
She just needs to flip off more people that way.
Yeah.
Spiritually. I liked Carmine's response to Ted's introduction. Ted Nelson, fireman. Carmine Ragusa, dancer.
Yeah. Yeah, they get into the big fight and everything. Yeah. Dry humping on the floor, basically.
Oh my god! I was gonna go that far.
They practically are, though. That's how it read to me. I mean, hell, they were messing around enough. They pissed off Mother Fratelli. That's Anne Ramsey in the back that yells at him.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is, audience. Yes, and she's so cool. She was so cool, rather. Yeah. I loved Carmine knowing that it was futile to separate them, so he just lets them, wear each other out, which is like also insulting. Jesus Christ, Carmine, get off your ass and do something.
Yeah. It's another trope of American shows is that guys like to watch girls fight, and no, I don't like watching girls fight. I like watching chicks in action movies. I like watching Cynthia Rothrock films. Everyone posts that one clip from Above the Law, except for the fact they always forget that Cynthia Rothrock dies horribly at the end of that scene.
Oh yeah. Jeez.
They always cut all the clips always cut away from that part. But yeah, I mean, I like gals kicking ass in movies and fighting each other and those kind of things. I love Kill Bill, obviously, but it's a weird cliche, and just this episode keeps playing into all these weird things I don't like about American art and culture, I guess, and that's the thing. It's got the sitcom-y, aspect of them fighting over the guy. It's got the whole girl fight thing. It's got the misunderstanding aspects. It's very frustrating because I want to like this episode, but it's like it's doing everything in its power to make me dislike it.
Yeah. Yeah, the problem with this episode is simple. It just repeats so much crap. We've already been here. We've already said all this. Ted Nelson's not exciting enough to fight over, girls. Come on. Remember who you are.
Yeah.
Interestingly, in a couple episodes, they managed to come to the realization it's okay that we are two different people who are best friends. There are different ways to be a woman. Which is a beautiful message, probably the best message the show ever gave to its audience. And here we just have them catfighting on the floor of a movie theater among the sticky droplets of soda and popcorn. It's like,
Yep. I mean, what's that line that Squiggy says in the talent show? We know what the audience wants. They want violence, sex. They want sex. They want violence. Violence is sex, and sexy is violence.
Sexy violence.
And that's kind of what the hell they end up doing here.
Yeah, pretty much. It's not the show's best look, is all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
I did want to mention from earlier in the episode, I loved when Shirley comes in and the boys deliver all this news. Squiggy actually says, let's call for air supply. was just like, geez,
That
that's cold.
yes, that yeah. Mm-hmm.
I fully forgot that until just now.
Mm-hmm. As did I.
Oh,
Squiggy casual with murder.
Hey, I can see it. It makes sense for him. Like, I remember we were talking about what would the gang be doing if they were modern characters and online, and I said that
Oh, right.
Lenny probably has a phone that's filled with nothing but bookmarks of Pornhub and cute animal videos.
Yes.
That's very. Also, the latest baseball game probably is in there.
Right. Yep.
That's him. That's probably him.
He ends up subscribing to ESPN, but gets the full package, but somehow swindles some sort of deal. So he's able to. So I don't know. He's able to get it for cheap or something. Some weird sort of dumb stroke of luck, because that feels very Lenny. Yeah, we were saying that Shirley would be a kitty pictures of either pictures of Boo Boo Kitty around the city, or would be cat photos, if I recall.
Yes.
Yeah, be she a catogrammer.
Yes, she would be. She definitely would be. And it would all be like Disney-esque. Someday my prince or princess will come. Stuff.
Right.
Will be all over her Instagram. I was the one who said the Laverne would have an OnlyFans. That's perhaps a little too much.
It's a bit too much. It's a bit much, but it's also kind of on the nose. I mean, I know there's folks that just do pinup stuff. You know, they're lewd but not nude.
Yeah.
So that would work, you know, and then the Amazon wish list comes out and it's like, oh, okay, those in that size, okay. Anyway, what was it for Squiggy though? We were thinking, I guess, like YouTube videos. He seems like he would be. I also see him as one of those guys that also would like watch all of those like product reviews by other nerds, and it's for really obscure products, like, no, here is the Slam-O-Rama. This thing will slam and press and do all these certain things, and it's just a printing press, or it's like it's like an automatic electric stamper or something.
Squiggy for me is the simplest. He would be doing all kinds of like jackassy, dude perfect kind of stunt stuff.
Oh my god.
When he is his stooge, he is trying his damnedest to get famous on YouTube so he can be Jake Paul.
Oh god.
That's who Squiggy would try to be.
That's spot on. It's horrifying. I love how this episode, this rather innocuous and kind of obnoxious episode, got us into an hour-long conversation with like 4 different tangents now.
It's because we're tangenting completely off subject.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he would do that, or he would be on Twitch. He would be a Twitch streamer.
Yeah.
But it would definitely be, watch me stuff 80 marshmallows into Lenny's face. You won't believe what happens.
Right.
Stupid thumbnails. That would be him. He would be Unis Annis. He would be, kind of a much cruder version of Good Mythical Morning. Or he'd have his little side channel where he rants about the lousiness of today's society and gets attention for being allowed that way. But that would be him. That would be what he would do.
Either that or being the valedictorian of his school, he would end up somehow being a Instagram influencer type that's got a bunch of like posh cars, because he understands the game of like, you only have the posh things for just a quick photo op, and then you quote unquote trade in when it's that one company took the thing back and the new company's giving you something new, to sell their product. Because I've seen that shell game happen with some of these people. It's crazy.
Hold up the mouthwash, Len. We gotta get it back in 2 minutes.
I love that. Anyway, back on track. Back to normal.
You're trying to get like condom sponsorships and all that stuff, but yes, back on track.
Back to normal. This mean I gotta take a cold shower?
Oh God!
Don't say it, Carmine. She won't think of it. That's the thing, because this is the problem I have, and I'm not saying that to be like, manipulate women to get what you want. What I'm saying is that there's this weird block. Like to be honest, at this point, if I may be frank, Cheryl's cock blocking at this point is bonkers, because there's clearly been instances that they have done some things in prior seasons. Yeah. And
at this point, I was gonna say, sorry, go ahead.
I guess what I mean is like there's no problem with just getting an HJ, It gets an
That's why
intimate
she's
thing.
not at this point. Like, geez, if she's 28ing with him up at Inspiration Point, something's gonna be happening.
Mm-hmm.
Something's gonna be happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we keep oscillating between her being Shirley Whoopi Feeney and her sending him upstairs for cold showers. So
Yeah.
the show once again doesn't know what it wants.
Speaking of cold showers, by the way, those hurt.
I imagine.
I've done that. I've had to do that like once or twice in my life. I know this is like TMI. It's like whatever. Fuck it. You know, I can cut this out if necessary. But
yes, you get it.
But those hurt. They're not comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, because what's happening is you have a heated part of your body that has a lot of blood in it, and you're suddenly giving it a splash of cold, freezing water. It's not comfortable. If you've been dunked in cold water when your body is overheated and it's not like overheated where it needs to cool down, like that's not comfortable. So what Shirley is doing to him and what he's doing to himself, I mean, this is this masochistic, sort of thing. And it's just, anyway, I don't know. I don't know where I'm fucking going.
That's why he has other women. And that's why he's going upstairs to do more than take a cold shower, I presume. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, as she says, clean body, clean mind.
Yeah, he doesn't have to say what's on his mind, so Yeah. Go ahead. Anyway, but I guess I just don't like that they're playing it off as a cute joke. I don't. Yeah. I just find because it's just at this point it's like this is kind of a toxic relationship to me after a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The relationship is very weird because they can't seem to pull the trigger. They can't seem to just have them be together exclusively. They have to have plots where Laverne and Shirley go on dates together. So they can never make up their minds about how exclusive they're supposed to be or not.
Yeah. Well, and anyway, we keep saying this, and that literally my next joke after they play it off as a cute joke is you do kind of sound like a broken record. Is like, okay, yeah, that's basically that's it. It's a broken record. I still can't believe that it took all these years of friendship for this incident to make, and this incident is what makes Shirley trust Laverne with Carmine. Ugh.
I know. And they've known each other since they were teenagers. I mean, come on. At this point, like, geez. Yeah. At this point,
anyway,
they're not gonna, actually, she does have a reason not to trust the two of them together. We will get there. We're going to get there in season 5, come to think of it. So, we'll get there. Hand. The hands. Let's not forget that line. Oh, God. We finally get to the end of the episode and the point that I guess Laverne's going to go sleep on the floor now. Why isn't she just sleeping on the couch? How the heck did they manage to afford a second bed again? What the heck happens here afterwards, basically, is what I'm asking.
Oh, God, don't think about it. It's just, whatever. At this point, I'm willing to believe that parts of season 4 take place in a complete alternate universe. It's like the Marvel, it's like Marvel numbering, So this is LS 325 or something.
Earth LS 41.
Yeah.
LS 6969.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Okay. I have one specific note here that says this is the girls at their total worst. That just says it in a lot of ways about their friendship specifically. That's my notes.
Yep.
I did like the line, like my own lying, cheating snake in the grass sister. The way Cindy delivers that was really good, and that was pretty much it. That was all my notes for this episode.
Yeah, I mean, my last one is a teasing note. If they're down to one bed, I mean, they could just share.
Yes, the classic huddling for warmth trope.
Yes.
And they were roommates.
But that's why it's okay.
Okay, I guess we have reached ranking time. I do believe we have reached ranking time. I think.
I mean, it's a case of we've gone on for an hour and 10 minutes, so might as well go for another 5.
I was gonna mention Shirley blurting out that they got this great big asbestos curtain, and I'm like, well, Cheryl, so did the Iroquois theory. You know what happened to everybody in there? Like,
oh God.
It's just the most random thing for her to mention. Like, well, okay, that's good, I guess. But yeah, don't trust asbestos curtains.
Nope.
That's all I'm
That's
saying about
do you
that
want
one.
session 9? This is how you get session 9.
Yep.
Anyway, numbering,
Now it's time
ranking.
to
What are we doing here?
You want to go first? Or shall I?
5.5.
This is about a 5.8 for me. The dialogue's good. Dialogue's incredible in this episode. The best part about it is the dialogue. The boys' part in the beginning is really good. Most of the boys' scene is good in the middle part of the episode. The physical comedy is really funny. Ted Nelson isn't Laverne's worst boyfriend, but God, we've just been here before. We've done this before. And then that joke during the fire safety demonstration is funny as well. Where Frank has to go shave his sweater. This isn't the worst episode of the show. We'll get to the worst episodes of the show. We've already had one of them. But we're gonna keep going. But I wouldn't recommend it highly. I wouldn't make it a priority to watch it.
No,
so.
It's a imagine if you will, an episode from season 1 that somehow ended up in season 4. That's basically the way I would sum it up. It's it's like the dialogue's very good. I liked Ted more than you. I found him more interesting. I mean, and this is, by the way, this is before I understood that he was an actor that was in one of my favorite movies. It's just a case of that. I like Ted. I don't know. There's a likable affableness to him, and it might be just a weird way that I, as a cis male, respond to him. But it's it is bogged down so many times. Like, I wish I could rank it higher. I wish this was like a 6.5 or a 7, like it, because it could be, but it's just the tropes just pull it back.
Yeah.
So not a priority. There's a couple of good jokes that, like, it's like, here's the thing, I guess, like if I was going to rescue this from the fire, there are parts of it I would keep and the rest I would say let it burn.
Yeah. Parts of it you just take the match to. Parts of it to rescue. Like a beloved family album. Like, you love that album.
Oh, man.
I love this album. Yeah, there are certain chunks that I would say from this episode, and certain chunks I would rewrite. I would pretty much try to make it a story about Laverne dating a fireman and realizing how difficult it is. We do get an episode that is kind of like that later in canon, but it is more tragic. You could go somewhere interesting with this concept. Or maybe you could do a whole episode about them burning the freaking bed up and then trying to find a replacement for Laverne.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's hard to get furniture for them, as we have already explained earlier in canon, because they are poor. They do not have a high income.
Okay.
Having to replace a whole bed would be a huge deal.
Let me posit then the idea. It ends up being that Laverne and Ted's first date, incidentally, he runs into them at the mattress store, and he's trying to keep it secret that he's buying her the new bed.
Oh, that'd be cute.
So,
that'd be cute. See?
That'd be cute. And that's it is. He's trying to keep his cover. Anyway, he lets Shirley know, or he lets Carmine know, and he's trying to keep his cover the whole time at the mattress store. Yeah. And the salesperson's like trying to figure out if they're newlyweds, and he's like, no, it's not like that. And the chemistry's really sweet, and there's so many ways you could have had an episode with these two together. Could have even have done, and even the movie date and the whole them going back and forth and all that physical bits there, that could have just been your tag scene. That could have been the tag scene.
Yeah. There is a simple way to resurrect at the end of this episode. Ted is off getting the bed. Laverne does with Shirley, because they're bringing the bed in together. Laverne does not know this. Laverne's anxious. Lenny goes, "Why don't I take you out to the movies?" They go out to the movies. And then when Shirley and Ted show up and nobody's there, they go, well, why don't we just go take a break? They'll end up at the movies together, and you had slapstick, but without the cat fight. You know, the slapstick without cat fight.
Right.
And maybe they're trying to hide that they're there by faking makeouts.
I could see it. Yeah. I like it.
It'd be simpler than the freaking cat fight.
Yep.
Yeah. That'd be our thoughts for this episode, I do believe.
I think that's our thoughts for this episode. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us once again for Night After Night podcast. And if you would like to know more, please follow us on Twitter at NightAftNightPC or Night After Night Pod on Facebook, Tumblr, WordPress, and Patreon. And as well, we just would like to wish you all a very, happy day and hope that things are going well in the far future. Because as of this recording, it's November 6th, 2020. So if you know your American history, this is an interesting day for us to even be recording anything.
Yes. Yes. Hello to the world of tomorrow.
Oh man, I can't believe I wasn't the one that made that joke. Nice.
I beat you to it.
That's just another reminder why we're dating. Anyway,
Yeah, there
so
you go.
speaking of Lisa, my love, what are we going to be covering next?
Squiggy develops a crush on a new employee at Shots. He asks Shirley to set them up on a date. When the girl says yes, everything seems to be smooth sailing and everything seems to be working well, but it turns out this girl might have some ulterior motivations, which forces the rest of the gang to rescue Squiggy from the clutches of this little she-devil. That would be Squiggy in love.
That sounds like a time. And
Yeah.
I guess we'll just have to see what kind of hijinks ensue with Squiggy in love. All right. Hopefully you'll join us next time, folks.
Yeah, bye-bye, y'all.